How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another video and another beautiful morning on the farm. Absolutely gorgeous. So recently we got the grass field on our new property, which is just up the road there. You can actually just see the roof of the shed poking up over the hedge, but we got that grass field mowed, rowed, collected and into the silage bunker. So early this morning I went out there and I grabbed the Ford and I got that compacted down and covered, so we are now officially making silage. Now that is going to take a few weeks to ferment, and hopefully when that is ready to sell, the prices will still be nice and high, because at the moment the prices are amazing, but I kind of feel like we might be a little bit late to the party, but we'll have to wait and see what the prices do. Hopefully they stay up there and we'll end up making a good chunk of money. But today we have got some more work to do over there. We need to grab our trusty Ford and we'll get the plow hooked up, which is sitting in the shed up there. And we are going to plow that grass field. And I just want to start on a nice blank canvas. So we're going to plow all of that in. And then we'll do an application of lime as well as fertilizer. And then we'll reseed it with grass. And once the grass starts poking through the ground, we'll do another application of fertilizer just to make sure that we are growing the highest quality and highest yielding grass that we can on that property over there. But while we have the plow hooked up to the Ford, we'll bring it over here and we are going to get our two small fields here connected up. And we'll probably have to do a little bit of lime and fertilizer spreading here as well. And then we'll probably bring the cultivator in and just get that all ready for seeding. But if you look very carefully, you'll see some equipment in the field which shouldn't really be there. Some lovely new equipment. Well, newish. It's actually very new. It's a Nova 330 and a Zeta CL80 with a nice dolly trailer. Unfortunately, though, this is not our equipment. It is our neighbor's equipment. The neighbor that owns this field, this wheat field, well, currently a wheat field, he's a little bit short-handed at the moment. So he asked if I could help him out with the harvesting of this field, and I said no problem at all. I actually offered to do this free of charge just as a neighbor, but he insisted on paying me for the job, so that's absolutely fine. Definitely not necessary, but appreciated. But yeah, we have got a nice combine, a combine that we are quite familiar with, and we've got the Zeta as well here, although I'm not going to use the Zeta. I'm actually going to get that disconnected. Because, well, I want to hook our red trailer onto the back of this just so that we have some extra space if we need it. And I wouldn't pull an extra load with someone else's tractor without at least asking them. But the Ford does have more power than these little Zetas, so I might as well use that. I mean, it's right here on the farm. So yeah, I'll be more comfortable using the Ford anyway. So we are going to get the trailer hooked up to the front of the Ford, because that's a nice little trick, if you didn't know about it, is with these dolly trailers it's much easier to maneuver them if you have them on the front of the tractor instead of, well, the rear, as you would normally have it. It's just a lot more direct and responsive. Still doesn't make it easy, but it definitely makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, that always helps. Let's see if we can get this in one go. I'd be quite impressed with myself if I did. Problem is I started it awkward, so I can't see now. So this is all a bit of a guessing game, but I think we're pretty close. Let's take a look. Maybe a bit too far? That'll do. Fantastic. Definitely not perfect, but it did work. So yeah, there's your tip of the day. If you didn't know that, it does work quite well. I just sort of blindsided myself a little bit there. I couldn't see where I was going, but we got there in the end. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work. Alright, so yeah, there we go. We have got the Ford. Like I said, I'm a bit more comfortable using the Ford. Just because more power, and also it's our own equipment, so I feel a bit better about towing an extra trailer behind it. Well, maybe just okay. I'm trying to figure out the best way to empty the combine, because we'll probably just leave the Ford here and empty straight in to here. We'll just drive the combine out. And yeah, we can swing it around in this field, and then we can dump into the trailers. Probably eventually I'll move the Ford with the trailers into the field when we have a bit more space. But for now, it'll work just fine over here. So yeah, we are going to get this fired up and warmed up a little bit. I have actually gone around and made sure everything is connected up and ready to go. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else that we need to do. We'll just let it run for a minute, and then we'll get into the field and we'll get it knocked out. But yeah, this might take us a little while. It is quite a big field, and it's not the biggest combine in the world. I kind of considered using our own equipment, but because we have soybeans in this trailer and we obviously can't use it, I decided against that, because it would be tough doing a big field like that with just our one small little trailer. So yeah, not a good idea. I think our combine would have done okay. Definitely not as good as the Nova, but I think it would have done okay, but the trailers would have been our bottleneck over here. So yeah, I decided to just use his equipment, which is fine. But yeah, it's a nice long field, which means less turning around on the ends, which is good. That does save quite a bit of time. It's amazing how quick the time adds up just from turning around in the fields. But yeah, we'll create a bit of space on the ends, and maybe we'll be able to get GPS going. It'll make this job a lot easier. But we are going to get the drone out, and we're going to get into things. So for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, so that is job done. And honestly, that went a little bit quicker than what I thought it would. But yeah, I've got all the equipment here ready for them to collect. And I'm sure they'll be over fairly soon to grab that. But yeah, we ended up doing 2 trips up to the garden center. So that worked out pretty well, having the extra trailer on there, because I think we definitely saved ourselves 1 trip. It really wouldn't have made a difference to have the 3rd trailer on there. I think we still would have done 2 trips, so it worked out just fine. But yeah, a lovely field to work, and honestly, I would love to buy this field at some point. I do think it would take quite a big offer for them to consider selling this field, but it would be ideal for our operation, since we've got access to this field already through there. Of course, there is a gate up here, which I didn't even bother using, because it's easier to go through our yard. But yeah, it would cost a lot of money to convince them to sell this field, I think. And we're definitely not in a position at the moment financially to do that. And also, really, our equipment wouldn't handle a field like this. Our tractor's too small. Our plows, cultivators, seeders, just about everything we own is too small for a field like this. So yeah, maybe someday when we have some bigger equipment and a bit more money in the bank account, we'll maybe try and buy it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think that day is still a little ways away. But we do have a new property that needs a bit of work, so we're going to head up there. We'll grab the Ford. I've already got the trailer disconnected. And yeah, we're going to head up there and we'll get the plow hooked up and we'll start work up there on that field. And also, now that I see the front loader over here, I did think that we'll have to go grab a silage fork at some point. We'll probably just buy that new. It's not really worth getting secondhand. They're not too expensive, I don't think, anyway. But yeah, we'll probably end up needing one of them to either load the forage wagon or the trailers when it comes time to sell the silage, when it's ready to sell. But yeah, so not a huge rush on that, but it's just something to keep in mind that we'll have to grab at some point. And I'm still keeping an eye out for maybe a little side-by-side or a pickup truck or something, but I don't want to spend an enormous amount of money. Maybe a few £1,000s is okay, but I don't want to spend like 10 or 15,000 pounds, nothing like that. I'd rather keep that money to try and expand our operation. Like I said, it's not a essential piece of equipment. It'll just be kind of nice to travel around and be a bit more comfortable. There we go. That is the silage there. It really doesn't look like much. We ended up with two big mounds that I couldn't quite flatten out with the tractor. So yeah, it looks a little bit odd, but there we go. That should be a fair chunk of money in a few weeks, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, hopefully next time round we can fill this bunker a little bit more. I do think that the two fields at the farm yard, that the main farm yard that we are going to combine, I do think I am going to put that back to grass so that we have two nice big grass fields. And then the small field, our smallest field, which is currently linseed, which is just across the little creek at the back of the property. I think that we probably will not seed again. I think we'll try and maybe build a little log cabin or something there. It's just too small of a field to really try and work. It'll get uncomfortable fairly quickly. Even with the smaller equipment, it's already a bit uncomfortable, and once we start upgrading, having bigger equipment, it's just not going to be a fun experience. So we'll probably end up putting that back to grass and getting ready for some construction work somewhere in the future. I don't know when this will happen, but yeah, hopefully that is something we can do. So we'll end up with basically the big field back there, which is the canola field. That'll be an arable crop, and then what is currently a field bean field, the other big field will be arable as well, and the rest will effectively be grass. So yeah, hopefully we can buy some more property down the line. If anything comes up for sale and we have the money, we'll definitely look into it. But yeah, for now that is gonna be the operation and the plan. We'll see how that all pans out. So there we go, we are plowing. So we'll get this done, and like I mentioned, we'll head back to the farmyard to get those two fields linked up once we are done here. And I don't know if we're gonna be doing the lime spreading and fertilizer spreading and so forth today. Maybe not, actually, because, well, we don't have enough fertilizer or lime, so we'll have to head up to the shops later on to grab that, and I don't think there's going to be enough time to actually get that onto the fields, but that's okay. As long as we get the plowing done today, I'll be happy enough. So we are going to get the drone back out, and we're going to get these two fields knocked out. So for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, so that is job done, and things are looking a little bit messy at the moment because over there we have our cultivated field which is effectively ready for seeding, and then we have the plowed ground which we just did, and then we have the untouched harvested field over here. But we'll come in and do an application of lime on the entire field, and we'll get some fertilizer on, well, this part of the field and the plowed bit as well. We did fertilize this half of the field before we cultivated, so we don't have to apply any fertilizer there, just up to where we plowed. And then we'll get this all cultivated in, and it should blend together quite nicely. But the other field, the grass field, or what used to be a grass field, that plowed up really well. So that is ready for lime and fertilizer as well, and we'll get that seeded back to grass very soon. And this field will probably be grass as well very soon. I think I'm about 95% sure that I am going to put this back to grass, because then we'll end up with 2 nice big grass fields and 2 big arable fields. Of course, the canola field across the road, and then the field bean field down there. The small linseed field on the left of that field, I'm not really calculating into any of my plans, because I think after harvesting that, we are just going to seed it back to grass, and that is effectively just going to become my house and a little yard with a lawn. There's not going to be any grass or anything there that we'll be mowing for the purposes of baling. But yeah, I think we'll end up with 4 nice big fields, and this field next door would be amazing. Now that I've worked it, yeah, it's sort of stuck in my mind that it would be amazing to own that field, but I just don't think we're ready for it. Like I mentioned earlier, our equipment's just too small, and of course we don't have the money for something like that. Of course, we could always find out about a loan, but I just don't think it's the right time. I think our equipment would struggle massively, jobs would take way too long, and it just wouldn't be a fun experience to own a field of this size right now. But a smaller field, definitely on the cards if anything else comes up for sale, which is more down our alley in terms of size at the moment. I will definitely consider that. But yeah, I think we have a pretty good setup going at the moment. Like I said, I think it'll work out well if we put this back to grass as well. We'd have a nice balanced operation. But I think we are going to leave it there for today. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time.